Hey guys, Craig with JSRP Products here. It's exciting news today. Want to show you guys a new product that we have out. As you know, if you're one of our current customers and clients, we're always trying to get the next best thing for you guys, always trying to make it a one-stop shop so you can get everything all in one go. So we've tried many different attempts at getting harnesses done over the last year, and nobody that we tried was really satisfactory to what I considered something I would just love to put my name on. Until now. Now we've got it. Let me introduce you to one of our models of a harness setup. First off, we'll start with the ECU. In this particular case, this guy is doing a stock 5.3 into a 56 Chevy. So he's not turboing it. This will be for his wife to drive. He just wants to be able to take that junkyard engine right out of the junkyard, put it into the 55 Chevy, and he's going to be using a 700R4 transmission in this case, so there's no electronic transmission leads in this harness either. We can do that, obviously, we can do anything, but in this case it'll be a stock 5.3 into an old 57 or 56 Chevy. So what we've done for the ECU for him is we've done what's called a little hot tune. Basically, it's a brand new or refurbished ECU, painted real nice. And we've deleted the VATs, deleted the speed governor, tweaked the timing, tweaked the fueling, made some subtle changes throughout to make the car perform better than if it was a bone stock tune, a more pleasurable experience. So that's taken care of for him in the ECU, and of course if you go boost or anything you want to do, electronic transmission, whatever, we can do the tune for you. If you want to stick a stock 6-liter with a 4L80 into anything, shopping cart, Amish buggy, RX-7, it doesn't matter. This harness and package would let you do that. We would configure it for your exact needs, and we configure the tune for your exact needs. So that's the ECU part of it. Put that aside. So we've laid this out. In this case, this customer opted for our really nice slip mesh option. This is not the typical split loom you see. This is a very nice looking slip mesh. The only thing that's still split loom is the small pigtail for the OBD2 sensor. OBD2 sensor. It's the OBD2 port. This will be what goes up under the dash, in your glove box, wherever you want to hide it. It's got a little cover protecting it, but this is where you have your OBD2 interface. Alright, other than that, the rest of this is all this really nice slip mesh, and as you can see the difference, this is the typical Craftway split loom, and this is the slip mesh. Really nice. So here's the terminals that go into the ECU, and this is kind of laid out so that when you can stick this half inside the vehicle, and you can run this half out through the firewall by feeding each one of these leads out one by one. You only end up needing an opening big enough for the the largest connector, which in this case would be the coil pack connector. So a 2-inch hole or so in your firewall, you feed everything out. You are welcome to put everything under the hood if you have room for it, and that's what you prefer to do, and then just feed this inside. That's all you'd have to do. Still about the same size hole as you see. You can kind of make a hole about that big and slide it through. So that brings us to what else would be inside or outside. This is our awesome fuse panel relay system. Of all the harnesses that manufacturers that I've teamed up with in the last year or so, this one's hands down the best. Let me show it to you. This one's got a weather seal, a rubber weather seal, so it seals, it protects everything from water. It's waterproof. Even the underside's done with waterproof connections. This one's pretty neat because it's got everything labeled for your relays and your fuses, and what we include with this setup is the fan relays and fan connections are right out of the box. In other words, you don't have to supply your own relays for nothing. You have ignition relays, fuel pump relay, and 2 fan relays. So you can have the single fan, or if you want to run 2 fans, or if you run an AC, you have the second fan option. So, and those all have a wire coming right out. For the fans, for example, they're right here and they're labeled fan 1 and 2. This one right here, this green one, ended up being for your fuel pump. Now it's a heavy enough gauge in this situation to run like a stockish to moderate fuel pump. In other words, like this guy will be running something like a Bosch 044, something along those lines. And this is plenty big enough to run one of them. If you decide you want to run a heavier duty fuel pump system than that, we would be able to oblige and give you the heavier gauge wire for it. This would be the pink wire here would be for a switch 12 volt source. So in other words, this would run to like your ignition key or your toggle switch, whatever, to switch on and off with the key system. And then here we have a tachometer hookup, and if you'd like, there's even a connection here to put a check engine light. They call it a CEL light in the system. And we've already covered the OBD2 port, so that's taken care of. Comes with we give you really well written instructions here, where everything gets connected to. The stuff that's not labeled is pretty self-explanatory. For example, this wire here obviously goes to a ground bolt. The rest, as you lay it out over the motor, can't really be switched around. They only go one way. On the bottom of our fuse panel is a stud right here with a nut and a washer. This will get a heavy gauge wire. You want to run off of your starter, or your battery. You know how in the from the factory the battery 12 volt ends up running to the battery down to the starter, and then from the starter it runs to the rest of the system with a heavy gauge. Well, you'll end up running a decent gauge wire to this. I'm not sure what gauge to tell you because everybody's different, but a moderately sized heavy gauge battery wire, because this will be supplying the load for the entire system. So you'll just simply thread this off, terminate your heavy gauge wire with a eyelet, put it on there, torque her down, make sure that doesn't touch a ground afterwards when you fasten this or bolt it or store it anywhere, because obviously that would throw a heck of a spark. Alright, so this clicks on really nice and secure, and it's sealed. Awesome setup. Alright, so the rest of this is pretty self-explanatory. These are just your connections and your leads for the rest of the engine, your sensors, your injectors, your coil packs, your crank sensor, your cam sensor, your mass airflow meter. It's all here. And in this case, this guy, like I said, is doing a stock 5.3, so this would have the mass airflow meter, stock injector clips, the whole 9 yards. And the instructions really lay out nice and tell you how to do the rest. And if some things are optional, for example, a gear select wire, this one doesn't have it, he's running a 700 R4, etc., etc. So, and then he also won't have a transmission VSS, vehicle speed sensor. So, we're really proud of this, and really happy to be able to show this to you guys and help those of you who want a simple solution for swapping LS motors into older vehicles, or whatever you want to swap it into, I guess. This really makes it easy and nice. You have just a couple connections. Really, you just have the 12 volt full time from the battery here to the stud, the switch 12 volt to that pink wire off the key. All these sensors get hooked up, and the ECU is plugged in. You hit the key, boom, thing fires right up and you're off and running. No mess, no fuss, just one stop, easy shot. So this one's for a stock style setup going into an older car. Once I have another one here laid out to show you, I'm going to do a second video for like one of our turbo applications, or even ones that for like our electronic transmissions. I'll go ahead and do a video for all of them just so you can see the differences. And like I said, this customer did opt for the slip mesh, but you can still get it in split loom if you prefer. One thing we will offer, and I'll cover this in the other video, is if you do order the harness for a boosted application, which is speed density, we also include with the harness and ECU package a GM 3-bar map sensor and the intake air temperature sensor that you have to install. So those also will come with it, so you don't have to source them on your own or worry about it. Okay guys, so that's it. This is our new harness, and we'll have the information up on our site soon for pricing and how to contact us and everything. So jsracingproducts.net for your turbo kits, bump boxes, harness solutions for all your LS swap needs. Don't be afraid to check us out and hit us up. Thanks guys. What you want?